Thanks, Kayla. From well-dressed celebrities getting scrutinized for every article of clothing they wear, to watching the hosts fail epically at trying to make pretentious snobs laugh, everyone has their favorite part of the Oscars. However, there's only one true purpose for the Oscars, and that's giving out the Best Picture award to the top movie of 2015. I'm Davis McCondichie, and tonight on Everyone's Critic, I'll be giving you a quick rundown of all the Best Picture nominees for this year's Oscars. So let's jump right into it. To start off, we have The Big Short, directed by Adam McKay and starring a star-studded cast of Ryan Reynolds, Christian Bale, Steve Carell, and Brad Pitt. Though technically considered a comedy, The Big Short focuses on the unfortunate housing market crash of the late 2000s and all the men who saw it coming. The writing's terrific, and of the complex financial ideas that are simplified into games of Jenga and non-diegetic celebrity cameos to explain complicated aspects of the housing market. The movie's engaging and demands attention. The writing also allows for some great performances by Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling, who both give us layered characters with complex motives. In fact, perhaps the strangest part of the movie is that our protagonists are very unsympathetic. I mean, after all, they made millions of dollars by betting on everyone else's lives failing. This movie takes a hard subject to swallow and breaks it down to a digestible story that we can all stomach. Moving on, we have Bridge of Spies, aka that one movie you all had to go see with your dad because he totally remembers this nonfiction story happening in his lifetime. I'll be honest, Bridge of Spies is your typical Oscar-nominated movie. It's cleanly shot and cut and has an interesting story to tell its audience. The movie is directed by the big man Steven Spielberg and stars Mr. Perfect himself, Tom Hanks. So you know it's a good one. It focuses on lawyer James Donovan, who is tasked with defending a Soviet spy in court. Donovan fights for his client tooth and nail, and just to make sure he isn't hung. It's worth mentioning that the Coen brothers wrote the screenplay for this movie, and I must say it's fantastic. The movie belongs amongst the nominees, but don't expect to make a big push for the win. Then we have the first of our first two indie movies, Brooklyn. Brooklyn is directed by John Crowley, that one guy who directed the good season of True Detective, and stars the oh-so-talented Saoirse Ronan. Miss Ronan plays Ailish, a young Irish immigrant who finds herself in the booming city of Brooklyn. The film focuses on things of homesickness, young love, and the power of community. It's a colorful, feel-good story that will make even the coldest heart feel a little warmth inside. A lot of critics believe that Carol should have been nominated over this movie. However, in my opinion, Brooklyn deserves to be on this, more than almost any other film of 2015. The simple, elegant motion of the plot is easy to get absorbed in, and the story is very relatable for college-age students. So if you want to be that hipster at your Oscar party, you cheer for that dark horse, Brooklyn's the way to go. Changing the pace, we have gigantic summer blockbuster Mad Max Fury Road. George Miller came back to the silver screen to give audiences a fresh dose of the angsty Australian wanderer, Mad Max. A simple action plot boosted by stunning performances by Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy and fist-pumping action stunts helped give the movie a push into the nominees list. Fury Road is not your typical Oscar movie. I mean, it isn't often a summer movie has enough staying power to win the Best Picture award. However, Mad Max looks the part. It could be the last picture left standing when the ceremony's all over. On a side note, I saw this movie like 3 times when it was in theaters, so yeah, it's pretty darn good flick and worthy of getting the attention it's gotten. Speaking of big summer blockbusters, The Martian also snuck its way into the field this year. Ridley Scott goes back to his space roots and directed a very faithful adaptation of Andy Weir's book of the same name. So just what is The Martian about? Well, basically Matt Damon stars as an astronaut who, you guessed it, gets left behind on Mars. I swear, at some point there's going to put one of those like kid leashes on Matt Damon so they can keep track of him. I mean, all jokes aside, the CGI is well done and the story keeps interest throughout the film's entire runtime. That being said, most moviegoers are very salty that a movie like The Martian got a nomination this year when Interstellar, an arguably similar but better film, couldn't get a nomination last year. Shifting from The Martian and always lost Matt Damon, we bring you The Revenant, and always getting snubbed Leonardo DiCaprio. Surprisingly though, Leo isn't even the biggest name in The Revenant. The film was directed by brilliant Alejandro Iñárritu and shot by the camera wizard himself, Emmanuel Lubezki. That's right, the dream team that brought you Birdman have joined together again this year to create the very own mega movie. The Revenant is an awe-inspiring, jaw-dropping movie that went through a famously difficult production. For example, Leo caught hypothermia and the production team just could not keep the budget from ballooning. The film is truly a masterpiece though, and will likely go down as Mr. Iñárritu's greatest work. So of course this movie belongs on the list. And don't be surprised to hear the film's name called a lot throughout the night. Next we have Tommy Wiseau's psychological thriller, The Room. Wait, crap, I meant to say we have Lenny Abrahams's quirky yet exciting indie success, Room. Seriously though, you will hear at least one person call this movie The Room at the Oscars. There's an important thing to keep note of. The Room is the worst movie of all time. The other movie, Room, is an Oscar-nominated picture. Room stars Brie Larson and child actor Jacob Tremblay, both of whom are fantastic in this film about a mother trapped inside a room for years, taking care of a kid who has never seen the outside world. It's a wonderfully done film and keeps the audience emotionally invested throughout. So if you want to check this movie out, fair warning, be prepared to feel. Room will play with your heart and also tug at your emotions. Last but not least, we have the favorite to win this year, Spotlight. This film stars an ensemble cast of Michael Keaton, Mark Ruffalo, Rachel McAdams, Janine and Maruso, who all play the Spotlight investigative team from the Boston Globe as they jig up dirty secrets of the Catholic clergy in Massachusetts. Written and directed by Tom McCarthy, the film is extremely loyal to the facts of the case and holds almost no flash or dazzle to it, yet the movie is still incredibly engaging. Audiences everywhere were literally on the edge of their seats during this film simply because of the subject matter itself. It is the cleanest of all the nominees and will impress any cinema lover for the tightness of script and well-focused direction by McCarthy. Spotlight is the front-runner for a reason, and as of now, no film seems to be close to topping it. So if your Oscar party involves betting on the winner of the picture, your safest pick would be on Spotlight. Don't be surprised if Spotlight wins the big winner of the night, sweeping the awards. Well, that's it. All of our Best Picture nominees. Now you can look like the big expert at your Oscar party. And now, don't be that one idiot calling Room the Room all night. Seriously, don't be that person. That's all from everyone's a Critic. Once again, I'm Davis McCondichie. Have a great Oscar night, and let's toss it back to Kayla.